Welcome to our first monthly MYgration Films watch party. Fusion Fest, as part of our exploration of the great diversity we have in Central Florida here, each year does a film contest. We call it our MYgration Films. And tonight we're going to see a few of those. We're going to have the stars and the filmmakers join us. And we have with us our film curator, Lori Turchin. Welcome, Lori.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Sorry, I was having a little issue there. Welcome to tonight's first watch party. I'm just very excited about this. Tonight, we're going to be seeing two films to celebrate Black History Month. One is Guyana Roots, story of Elizabeth Fullington from Guyana. Filmmaker Jacob Santino Healy from San Diego, California. Go Aztecs, my alma mater. And then the next film we'll be watching is Greenlight, story of Alinx St. from Haiti, and filmmaker Laura Bland from Switzerland, who could not be with us tonight. We also have a special guest, Sam Roberts, Caribbean American Chamber of Commerce of Florida, heads of Caribbean organizations, and chairperson. I did it better the first time. Sorry, Sam. So if Tally's ready, we're just going to show the first movie, and then we can stop and take some questions if anyone wants to address them directly, and then we'll watch the next film, and then we'll go from there.
Super. So I'm not hearing any sound. Thanks for bearing with us, folks. This is our first attempt at this, and we're learning the ropes.
As we are walking towards the plane, we thought we heard calling Fullington family, and Edward says, "They're calling our name." I said, "What are they calling us for? We're gone." And so we. So when we got in the plane, the guards were at the door. They tried to come to take us off. But the law is when an American plane goes to any country on the land that it stands on, stops and parks, that is American soil. You can't touch. My name is Elizabeth Fullington, and now I'm a naturalized American, but previously my home place of birth was Guyana. You know what the song, they say, "Oh, beautiful Guyana. Oh, land of the free." That's the word. I mean, beautiful. You should see Guyana. Guyana is beautiful. But you left it, because of what man did with politics, you had to run and uproot everything that you work hard for. At 23, we had our life set out, where you're going to be, what you're going to do. Yes, we made a conscious choice to flee and not stay. But when you think of your family and your children and the future, that's the exit. Not a casual exit like, oh, let us go to America. No. It was a safe haven. Get out, or else something bad may happen. Your husband may be the next Walter Rodney, blown up because he had too much of a mouth. We struggled and fought to become an American. It meant a lot. We broke down when we took our vows. See the flag? That was from our citizenship. It was a big decision. You may have had a lifestyle when you come to America, and especially you're coming with the hardships of a government where you're running away. You come with nothing, and you are just leveled to the dirt. You're literally leveled. Who knows you? Nobody. Who are you? People may remember who you were from back home, but you're nobody. You have to start with zero. I said, "Hello, I'm Elizabeth Fullington," and she looked up. I said, "I'm here for the position for the interview this afternoon." She didn't even stand to shake my hand or anything or welcoming me. She was expecting me, but she didn't expect to see who I was. So I walked back now, feeling sort of strange, and I told the guy, I said, "Hey, you just sent me in for an interview," and she told me the position is filled. He says, "Honey, welcome to America." And I'm thinking, oh my gosh. I'm so grateful that we went to New York, or else I wouldn't be the person I am today. Tough. The road may not always be covered with petals of roses, but you make good with it. You learn. You have a job, be grateful. I met a young man whose name was Scott Cohen, little. He was playing for Release by Beethoven. I sat with him and said, look, you made a mistake right there. Let me show you. Go back. And he says, where? He can't read. So I came into his life to be a remedial teacher. Next thing you know, they're asking me to be his teacher. You're coming from nothing into making something in a world that is a brand new world. It's like if I came out from Guyana all again, but it wasn't easy. Because when you're an immigrant, remember, you're not seen, you're like invisible. One day I'm going to help those kids to see, get the vision. Do you know what it is to give back and to instill vision in a kid who never thought he could be anybody? It was hard work to get them to go, raising funds, talking to Delta to get group fares, and I got my first group to go. You see them at the airport, it's like, wow. You see them on campus doing music in a foreign country, and they're eating it up. They left home hungry for the opportunity. That was my reward, that was my joy, because you don't know. It's only the rich could do it. An immigrant, they mark themselves, they put themselves down as a failure. Oh, I would never be able. No, yes, you can. I did it, you could do it. Being an immigrant, I thank God, honestly, because I did not lose my roots and I was planted in America and made it happen.
It's
Thank
so
you,
powerful.
Elizabeth.
Every time I watch that, I get chills, Elizabeth. Um, Elizabeth, why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience making this film? You want to unmute yourself?
You're still muted there, Elizabeth.
Hi, can
Hey,
you
Elizabeth.
can you hear me?
We can. We can.
Yes. What was your question?
My question was, what was the experience of making this film for you? What did you expect going in? What did you get out of it?
Well, going in, I never expected it will come out like this, because what happened is that what the filmmaker did for me is that I didn't realize, and this is something you're going to find with a lot, if we have any migrant people in this group, you're going to realize when you come to America, and especially if you're leaving a country where they're not allowing you to bring your money, your wealth, you had your property and everything, you sell it, you're restricted in what you can bring. So when you get here, it's like vision, I have to make it happen. So you don't think about all the stuff that this guy was able to uproot from my emotions, because you bury it. You have no time to sit and have a pity party. And you're here with kids and you're pregnant. Who has time? Who has time for that? So the only time that I really understood how really painful it was and that I buried it, but the sore was not quite healed, is when Jacob did the interview. And he was rough, he was tough with me.
Jacob,
He said to me, Elizabeth, so you're telling me that all this was just like, oh, it just happened, right? I'll never forget that interview. And he says, he got angry. He says, you're not trusting me. And I said, I don't understand. Why do I have? He says, you are holding back. You are not telling everything. And he dug and he started to ask me pointed questions. and I could not believe I broke down. Oh my goodness, I wept. I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed because all the pain that I hid for all the years just came back as fresh as ever. Then I understood why I'm so motivated. Then I understood why I wanted to do the foundation. Then I understood why I want to help kids who didn't have an opportunity, because the opportunities in America, it's right there. And like from the culture we're from back home, I traveled with my parents internationally. I went to everything. They gave me, it's the Caribbean way of life is so different. And when you get here, it's just a privilege. Yeah. My first exposure at UCF with the music festival is that I looked at the cross section of people that were bringing their kids in for sitting for the auditions, and I hardly saw many brown people like me. And so that's how I started teaching in Florida. It's like I started the Boys and Girls Club, just giving back. I just wanted to see kids become accomplished, and I gave them exposure because I was fortunate to teach the wealthy. And I gave them exposure to all the wealthy neighborhoods of Isleworth, and for them to see, hey, you can get here not only by being a ball player, but by being accomplished. And
Well,
so we had a lot of fun. And then I was just waiting to retire. So when Jacob met me, I was in the throes of closing the school and opening up the doors to help the under-resourced child. And I'm still doing it, and I'm enjoying it. We're not a wealthy foundation, but God allows me to do wonders.
Elizabeth, I have a question for you. So, have you forgiven Jacob for digging up some emotion?
Of course she does.
I wasn't asking you, Jacob.
Yeah, Jacob and his then fiance, they were so cute. And you could see she was feeling for me because Terry, I broke down like a baby. This guy, maybe you should not have said that. Jacob, I'm waiting to get you.
I think that's what I love the most about this story, about this film, because these films, the making of them becomes like a whole nother story. And the fact that Jacob from San Diego and Elizabeth from Guyana,
Yes.
different ages, couldn't be more polar opposite, and yet they came together. And this was the year that our filmmakers had only 2 days. They had 1 day of filming and 1 day to post. And to get that out of someone, to build that kind of rapport. Jacob, maybe you should have been a therapist.
Yeah, I think part of being a filmmaker is knowing psychology for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Elizabeth, I want to say that I appreciate your being open and vulnerable. That makes the film so much more meaningful to me. So
Yeah.
I'm glad Jacob dug around a little bit.
Yeah, he did. I'm appreciative because Terry, many immigrants will understand, you really don't stop. You do not stop. You really don't see your struggles for survival and building a life, because we literally came with zero, because I think it came out in the film, it was $25 per household member coming over as a landed immigrant. And had I not had friends in the United Nations to help me get my money out to get an apartment and things like that, I don't know what would have happened. So yes, I really appreciate the making of the film. I had no idea that it would have been a healing process. I really had no idea. And so, Jacob, I really appreciate it. I didn't understand why he was digging. He knows his job. And he knew how to do it gently. It's not like he broke my arm to get it. He nudged. It's how he did it.
Barbara Walter, Jeff.
Yes.
Well, Jacob, I have a question for you. Have you done other documentaries? I mean, is this a common technique of yours, or was this something new?
Oh yeah, I've done a couple. This was probably my first documentary outside of my main genre, which is military. I usually do military and kind of like trauma or PTSD style stories, but this was totally out of my comfort zone. But um, yeah, I mean, it's just the elements of the story are the same. With Elizabeth, it was like I knew, I think it was after 6 hours of shooting, I knew when I had a full story. I knew the elements that I had, the bringing in of the story, the background, her immigration, the challenges that she had here in America, to include racism, and her perseverance. And then finally giving back. You would never expect somebody in Elizabeth's shoes to give back, but she had the strength to come full circle and have an impact on a community that, in my opinion, didn't do a ton for her. She worked very hard to get where she is, and so it's just amazing, and it's hopefully a testament to her and what she's doing in the community.
Well, Elizabeth, obviously there was political things going on that you fled. We have Sam here, who is the interim president of the Guyanese American Cultural Association of Central Florida. Mm-hmm. Sam, you came from Guyana as well, right? Did you have to flee as well?
Well, I came up as a student, so it was a little different for me. I came up way back in 87 as a college student, so the transition was a little different. Yeah. I mean, but I've got family members who left earlier than we did because of similar stories with the government of the day. And I mean, there's a lot of similarity between Elizabeth's stories and stories I've heard from my family members, but my story is just a little bit different.
And are there a lot of folks with Guyanese heritage here in Central Florida?
Oh, absolutely. I think the Guyanese community is the second or third largest Caribbean community in Central Florida.
Well, I know who I'll be calling when I need someone from that part of the world, Sam.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, and because of, I mean, besides my involvement in the Guyana Association, because of my involvement in the community, Caribbean community across the board, I've got friends from basically all parts of the Caribbean and all parts of the world. So,
what are you doing tomorrow for dinner?
actually, I'm in Alabama, but hey, Zoom is always available.
Oh, there you go. No, but seriously, we should hook up, and definitely, I'm more than willing to come to functions and talk to people about what we're doing and recruit them.
I mean, I think, I'm not trying to say Elizabeth's story is not Elizabeth's story. It's a great story, and everybody's experiences will follow a similar track. But each individual experience, what makes Elizabeth. Her personal experience has molded her into wanting to do more, giving back. But there are a lot of people who might have come through different circumstances and have amazing stories to tell. So I think it's a great concept, a great idea of doing something like this. And not just Caribbean or Guyanese. I think if you get a room full of people who are comfortable in an environment that ICE is not at the door waiting for them, so they admit how they got here and whether they're legally here or not. The information you'll get, the stories you'll hear are amazing stories, and not just from the Caribbean. I'm talking China, India, Africa, you name it.
I need one of each of those.
Exactly, and it's the stories of the struggle to get here. And as Elizabeth said, you're coming from where you're known, your home. And whatever you can come with, you come with, but you're coming with zero. Not financial zero, but personal zero. Nobody knows who you are. I mean, I grew up in Guyana where I can knock on every door and I can eat. Everybody knows everybody. The streets is a village. And there are more stories of similarity across the world where you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody.
Yeah.
You arrive in America and it's like zero, as Elizabeth put it. You're coming with nothing, nobody knows who you are. and you're really starting from scratch. And that scratch story is an amazing story if you do a documentary on it. And Jacob, knowing when to press and when to hold is the making of a good director, because getting her to break without making her break, you got her to break on her own terms, and finding opportunity with more people to press and know when to press and know when to back off and let them tell you their story. I think you do that, you've got the makings of being a great director, knowing that when to and when not to.
So here's a comment, I think, Elizabeth, this must be your daughter. And she says, "Thank you, Jacob, for having the skill to draw out this story from Mom. The family and grandchildren appreciate that we have a wonderful girl artifact in about our legacy. We indeed, yes, indeed, you, Barbara Waltered Mom, you captured the trauma of leaving everything behind and starting afresh." So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. And if
I may, there you guys.
If I may say something, I call it, prodding, but really it was mostly about trying to earn Elizabeth's trust, because once she did, I feel like, trust me, she let her guard down. And actually the most beautiful moment in the film, in my opinion, is when she kind of self-discovered or rediscovered her truth. And it's when she said, when you're coming up and as an immigrant, you're coming up from nothing, you're seen as nothing. And if you look, she realizes in that millisecond what she just said. It's that intrinsic value that she knew she had. And it's a very emotional moment, and you totally just feel for Elizabeth, and she trusted me enough to share that. And so I have to thank Elizabeth for trusting me.
How did you know I was holding back? How did you know? I didn't know how, I couldn't figure out, how did you know that I wasn't telling everything? That's why I was so, at the end of it, I said, gosh, Jacob, you're good, because I didn't know you could, everyone knows me, I can do good poker, and I can, I know how to hide it. You can, and you saw through, that was pretty good. Yeah, you saw through.
Jacob, can you just briefly speak to the experience you had? That year was a rare year, and that you guys only had 2 days. What was that experience like as a filmmaker?
Before you answer that, let's just give a little background for those. We pair filmmakers and someone that's going to be the subject at an event on a Friday evening, and then the filmmakers in this case had until Sunday night to get their film filmed and in. I think now our deadline is Wednesday. So it's a short time, and you don't know the person ahead of time. So this film contest, of which we have $1,000 prize for the best film, is about this interesting putting people together. And also, Jacob, before you go, I just want to comment on Sam's comments about all the people that come here. And that is really what Fusion Fest is about. We have this incredible diversity here in Central Florida, and we want to bring people together. So we're not in our isolated silos, but we're forming a Central Florida identity together. And in doing so, we can show the world, as we're at crossroads of the world normally, during normal times, that people with different heritages, ethnicities, lifestyles, etc., can live together on a basis of respect and love, and not fear and hate, which is so common when people are different. So that's what that's all about. But now I've interrupted this flow. Jacob, what was this experience like of this meeting a strange person and filming in a short amount of time?
Yeah, well, I'm grateful for the first day, getting paired up with Elizabeth, and then, you step out of the room and it's like, I don't know, maybe 8 p.m. or something, or 7, and the doors shut in like an hour and a half. So we just had like this power get to know each other session where we sat down and I just like machine gun grilled her, like, what's your story? I do not want to say a word. Tell me everything about you. And she just spilled it. And she's a, you know, a great storyteller herself. So she, you know, she gave everything in that amount of time. And it really, you know, got me thinking for the rest of the night, and kind of gave me my groundwork for the next day. So I knew, like, okay, here's where I want to dig. Here's where I want to, you know, here's where I think I can piece a story together. And so that first day was super instrumental in the process.
Great. Well, Elizabeth, thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing your story to be told. Jacob, thank you for filming it. We have another film we want to watch now. Lori, would you like to introduce that?
Sure. The next film we have is Green Light, the story of Alinx St. Louis from Haiti, filmmaker Laura Bland, who couldn't be with us tonight, but we'll have the ability to ask questions to Alinx after the viewing of this movie. Sally?
My mom immigrated here to the US back in 1972, and having to learn English, didn't know too much about the American culture. So the expectation was opportunity for my mom and a better way of life. My name is Alinx St. Louis. I was born and raised in Miami. First generation Haitian American, and that title alone by itself didn't understand until I got a little bit older. Getting out of my comfort zone was really good because from that point it opened my eyes to other opportunities. Again, opportunity to do better. I got a scholarship to go to the University of Florida, not for football, not for athletics, but for academics. You know, they said I had a brain, huh? Okay. So went to University of Florida, and at the same time I joined the Army. During that course, some things transpired where I could not finish my education at University of Florida because I had to take care of my mom, my brother and I. So decided to be central, so I ended up coming here to Orlando.
I'm Rebecca St. Louis, and I'm Alinx's wife. One of the reasons why I fell in love with my husband was because he's very outgoing, he's very affectionate, he's always looking for new opportunities, he loves to help people. Well, that was something that I saw in him, that he was ambitious. Coming from the first generation immigrant in the United States, he's always had a very hard work ethic. He saw his mother and his father struggle growing up, so he's always wanted better for himself and to pay it forward to those in his community that he could help.
My wife and I are very fortunate that we both work for the same company. Two different departments, but we both started in one. Conservation is one of those things that speaks to every language. But at the same time, if you don't know what you need to do, somebody is going to have to show you. So it's been a real treat that now in the role that I do have, that I'm able to meet with the customer, talk to the customer, and help the customer go from point A to B and to C and beyond, to help them have a lower bill so they can go out and enjoy what's in Orlando. They can go out and enjoy the beauty, experience the food, and the culture. Obviously, family inspiration is always the best inspiration because they give you the foundation of this is who we are, this is where we come from, and no matter what, don't forget where you come from. Haitian art for us is an expression of the times. My mom got me some Haitian art from Haiti. A guy, a slave with a chain on his ankle and him drinking water. When I look at that, it was a reminder, yes, Haiti was the first Black republic, Western Hemisphere, to be free. Haiti also had talented people. not just freedom, but talented people. Sharing my story today with you guys, it was more of an obligation of saying that, hey, look, new technology, new year, new things, but some things don't change. That you have to give back. You have to want to be better.
Bonjour, bonsoir. My name is Alinx St. and this is my story.
Hey, Alinx, you want to unmute?
Yep, I'm muted now. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey.
Yay.
And if Elizabeth made us cry, Alinx, you made us laugh. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to see you dancing
I
on
try.
the street. I want to see you dancing on the street.
Oh, you know what? That was impromptu, Terry. We went downtown to film, and I saw the two guys playing, and I told my wife, just follow me. Don't just go with it. And she's not a dancer. And I said, whatever I do, you need to do it. Just keep going. And Chris and Laura were really good at letting me be creative and just showing that, yes, you know, being in the US, understanding the American culture, which is something that it's a culture shock. Being the child of an immigrant, you know, you try to tell people, yes, I'm born here, but you still feel out of pocket. You still feel that, okay, there's a lot of stuff I don't know about anything in America. So, you know, even to this day, there are some words that I can't even translate in Creole to my mom because I'm like, we don't have that. We just don't have it. So it's really cool. But no, it's great.
So tell me, how does someone from the Caribbean marry someone who can't dance? Come on.
She gets out there. She's a lover of languages, and I think that's what drew me a lot to her, because she loves languages, she loves culture, and she's willing to learn. I think the biggest thing about being an immigrant and being someone that's here in America, when you open up yourself to learn, you learn to just let the barriers come down. You learn to allow the culture to seep in so you can grow, because at the end of the day, America is the melting pot. And that alone will just, you know, if you can remember that, then you can never go wrong. As growing up as kids, the biggest thing that my brother and I always said to each other, we are the ambassadors to our culture, to our family. So we have to do our best to be the best example. We're going to make mistakes, but we just have to make sure that people know who we are, because like Elizabeth said earlier, you come here with nothing. So my mom coming here was just a gateway. And so we had to take it to the next step. So we had to stand on her shoulders so we can move forward. So with that being said, it's been a undertaking, and it's been an honor to just have the last name and have the opportunity to share the culture. And I love it. I just love it.
Great.
Alinx, could you speak a little bit
Yes.
to the experience of making this film and working with the filmmaker?
Oh, Laura and Chris, they were awesome. I would say that the biggest hurdle that we had to cover was to film everything with COVID-19 out there. And at that time, it was oh my gosh, it was early on. And we had to do social distancing. We had to be away from each other. So I would say the biggest thing with Chris and Laura, because they're a team, and they made it very easy for me to understand what I needed to do, where I needed to be, and just made me comfortable to share my story, and through my eyes, you know, and not some canned type of message. So it definitely was a great experience. It was the first time ever being in front of the camera instead of behind the camera, because I do AV on the side. So it was real. I'm like, okay, yeah, I could do this. I'm like,
Maybe
I
this
was
year we
nervous.
have you as a filmmaker, Alinx. We can't do your
No.
story again, but we could put you behind the camera.
So
Yeah, maybe I need to get some lessons from Jacob.
I think this is some kudos to Lori, who is our curator of this program. So she looks at the applications of people who apply to be a filmmaker and the people who apply to be a story, and chooses who are going to be good. And it's a random pairing. She doesn't do that, but gets this, if we've got 10 filmmakers and 10 subjects, it's match up. So thank you, Lori, for being the curator for this and getting our folks who aren't normally be in front of a camera to be comfortable, because we've got filmmakers that they can trust.
I think also the key is getting, because you can tell people what to expect when filming till you're blue in the face, and until they're doing it, they really just don't have any idea. And I think the key was bringing the people whose stories we were telling in on the creative before the director came, getting them to think about things and ways to tell their stories that were visually interesting. So I keep wanting to ask you, Alinx, that beginning footage of the little boy, is that actually you?
No,
I didn't think so.
I was just like, when I saw it, I said that could have been me, but that's not me. They did a good job.
Yeah,
Lord, they did a good job. They did an excellent job, because I only saw a clip when they first got the first rough draft, and I was just like, I'm like, wow, this is looking good. And then when I saw the final piece, I was just like, wow, it was way better than what I was expecting. And I'm just like, I want to meet that guy. So it's cool.
Making it visually interesting. I especially appreciated you were talking about your job with and how keeping a beautiful community, and how then they took that drone shot up about the beautiful Lake Eola.
Yes.
So there was some great, I'm sorry, Laura and Chris aren't here, so we can commend them, but they'll, I'm sure, watch the recording of this, and good job, guys.
I would say that shot was just when Chris was doing it. I was sitting on the bench and it started to rain. He's like, "We're gonna be good. We're gonna get it all in." He said, "Just relax." And so I said, "Okay, no problem." I said, I think when we did the shot, when it all came together, it was really, really nice, because when I look at Orlando and coming and just being raised in Miami and coming to Orlando, I call Orlando the Miami North, just with a little different flavor. And I really enjoy just the scenery, the outside, just everything, because this is the new melting pot for Florida. And definitely it's welcoming, it's very open, and I'm very glad I was part of this, the whole process, just everything that's going on.
Well, we call Miami Orlando South, so.
Good one.
Very true, very true, very true.
Well, Laurie, I got to give you credit, because if you did the matchmaking, obviously you did a good job matchmaking.
No, I do not do matchmaking.
No, I mean, it takes knowing what combination to put together as the target and the filmmaker takes some skills. So kudos to you.
Well, thank you. I
Definitely
appreciate
kudos
that.
to you.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes,
No.
it's black right now.
It went black.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm trying to get you back to the slideshow. Oh, there we are. Let's see. You are screen sharing.
There we go.
Can you see my
Yes,
slideshow?
yeah.
Yes, we can.
So Sam, the Haitian community is fairly large in Central Florida as well.
Absolutely. Yep, I think that is the largest Caribbean community.
Well, probably Puerto Rico, I think, is the largest.
But Puerto Rico is not Caribbean. Puerto Rico is America.
Okay, all right. we call it part of the Caribbean.
That's all right. That's all right. I mean, I agree. I'm only messing with you.
All right.
Get that Sharpie out for the Fusion Fest map, Terry.
There we go.
No, but I think the Haitian community in Orlando is extremely strong. Extremely strong. So
Great. And Alex,
Very true.
I just mentioned your work at OUC, and I want to mention that OUC was our sponsor of the MYgration Films this past year, and we really appreciate that. And I think they're the ones that helped to connect us to you, to
Correct.
have you be one of the people that we were going to film. So We do appreciate OUC very much, the reliable one.
Yes, thank you. I had got the application. I honestly, I was just asked 2 months prior, and then so when it came closer to the time, I was like, okay, I could do an interview. But when COVID hit, didn't know if it was going to be pushed back or canceled. And so when they went through with it, I was just like, okay, this is going to be different, but let's go. Let's go all in and let's just do our best to give everybody something that's positive, because at that time and still right now, there's just so much negative out there. So I would say I agree with that the Haitian community is the largest community right now out there in Orlando. With me going to work every day, I get a chance to share things with people in my culture that simply a telephone call or a text message doesn't work. I get a chance to, walk them through it, get them to go through it, because coming to the US and looking at a bill, that's just shocking, because it's not something you do in Haiti. Sometimes in Haiti, sometimes you just pay one bill for the whole year, and then that's it. But here in the US, there's different things you have to learn, and just having the opportunity to help people do what my mother had to do when she first got here. That's what gets me up in the morning. That's what gives me keep going, because I know every day I have an opportunity to help someone in my culture, in my country, or anyone just understand what to do here. And it's just about giving back. Like I said in the movie, it's every which way you can give back. How little it is, just give back, because you never know what it's going to do for that other person, because you're the hope. That's what being an immigrant is. You come here for the American dream because it's hope. So I think that's what I look to give to everyone when I meet them, when I talk to them. Just give them hope.
Great. Do you have family in Haiti that you visit?
I still got family in Haiti right now. My great grandmother, she actually was here right before COVID, and then she went back. She's 95 years old, and this lady just keeps going. She's like the Energizer Bunny. She doesn't stop, and it's crazy. But she's still in Haiti. I still have another aunt and about 15 to 20 cousins in Haiti. That literally they come back and forth. And we were trying to go to Haiti as a family last year, but COVID canceled that trip. So we're going to try again, hopefully within the next 6 months, to try to go down there.
Well, we felt it was important, even in this time of pandemic, to do Fusion Fest, to have these contests. And we had to curtail much. We had to limit the amount of people at Fusion Fest, which is Thanksgiving weekend, Saturday and Sunday after Thanksgiving Day. So we had less people, but after months of COVID, our performers were so appreciative of the chance to do what they do, and our vendors, and in a safe way. The Dr. Phillips Center for the Performing Arts, which is our partner in this, and the festival happens in front of the Dr. Phillips Center, created their front yard festival with the socially distanced audience boxes and big stage, and we had temperature checks and masks, and so we're trying to, as immigrants are trying to learn to live in this culture, we are trying to live in this COVID culture and learn how to do that safely. So that was part of that.
Together.
Yeah. So thank you both. And there is our next month's coming up. Lori, I saw you had that up for a bit there.
Is it back up?
Yeah, so Women's History Month next month and St. Patrick's Day. So we will be seeing the story of Sarah Costello, who is Irish heritage, and fun show. She is also, and her group performs at Fusion Fest, so you'll enjoy that. We want to thank everyone for joining us. We want to thank you, Jacob, Elizabeth, Alinx, and Rebecca. And Sam, thank you for joining us as well.
No, so, thank you, Terry. Thank you, Lori.
Prayers and best wishes to Alinx. He's having a baby soon.
Woo!
Yes, 725.
It'll be in
She's doing
Orlandoian.
good. Yes, in Orlandoian. It would be technically the second generation of
Wow.
our family being born.
Wow.
So that's going to be interesting. So, oh, I'm not going to sleep. It's going to be good.
Well,
It's going to be good. But no, thank you guys. Thank you guys for taking the time to share this. Thank you, Elizabeth, for allowing us to get an insight to what you had to go through. Because when I was watching, I was literally thinking about my mom the whole time. I'm just like, yep, I understand. Yes, I understand. And there were many nights that I don't know how my mom made it happen, and she made it happen. And so when you talk about, you can't give up and it doesn't stop, I resonate with that 100%.
And looking at you, you're the product of your mom and my kids. The children of migrant families are totally different. They're very focused.
Yes.
And your mom must have done this with you too, because my husband said to my daughter, because they knew all that we had to give up.
Yes.
To get here for freedom, no restrictions. At the time, when we left Guyana, there were food lines. It was horrible. And it was a comrade society of, and you had our departure that Jacob only told a little part of it. We had to be secretive about every move. That is why we were shocked that they knew that we were leaving at the airport, It was really a bad time in the country. But the point is, our kids, they were hungry also, because they saw what mom and dad had to go through. And my husband would say to them, listen, I would be happy when your position in life outmarks mine. That's all I want to see you do. That all my struggles and my sacrifice would be
100%.
Worth it. Yes, and I'm sure your mom said the same thing to you. So.
Oh yes. She finally. Oh, I didn't say this earlier. She saw the film for the first time on Christmas Day, and she cried, and she's just like, "You took the time to talk about me." I'm like, "What else do we have?" Yeah. I said, "What else do we have?" I said, "Without you, there would not be me. There would not be my brother. We wouldn't be here in America." So again, she's the rock. She's the rock for all of us. So when I tell you, Elizabeth, when you were talking, I'm just like, yes, I understand, because it was a tough time in Haiti at that time as well, and just to come to the U.S. and I don't understand what I told her. I said, I don't know how you made it not speaking English. I didn't understand it. But when I got older, having to learn English as a second language, when I had to translate, it was my brother and I translating, 8 years old and 10 years old, translating for our mother. So we're just like, we got to do our best in English. We have to learn this thing. We have to make sure we get it. And I think that's another layer to just being thankful, because it could have gone a different way. It could have gone a different way, and she persevered, and just to be able to share the story and to hear your story, it just resonates that when you come here, it's for opportunity and for a better life. It's what it is, and it is the American dream being lived out every single day we wake up. So
can I ask Terry, what made you come up with this concept? It's an awesome concept, because it's the only time you hear a migration story like Henry Kissinger or like the big wigs. You see it on national TV biographies of people that struggled from Russia, but there's never about the little peon. And your organization has done something. You have opened up not Pandora's box, but better than that. You have opened up an opportunity. You have no idea what you have done. I don't think you realize how deep this goes, how grateful people are listening to this young man. We never thought we would have had a voice. Did you ever think you'll be able to speak about
No,
About gratitude? No.
no,
Well,
no, not at
Elizabeth,
all.
I'll answer your question. So Fusion Fest says that everyone has a heritage, and it's whatever you say it is. That heritage might be many generations here, but we all come from somewhere. And in fact, in Central Florida, a lot of us didn't grow up here. But there are those that did, and maybe their parents or grandparents or great grandparents came here. We all have a story. We have something that is our past that brings us to who we are now. And now we want to say, okay, now that we're here and we're in the same geographic space, how are we influencing each other? How are we together creating this Central Florida identity? So I think it's about this respecting each other and honoring our heritages, knowing that that kind of diversity, studies show that when people of different cultures work closely together, they're more creative and more influential. So let's maximize this incredible diversity that we have here. And you do that by listening to each other, by hearing people's story and hearing about what makes them who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And a question that that Abby had for, and Alinx, I'll mention it to you as a first generation. How are you planning, and having a new child coming, how are you planning to pass on your heritage to your children?
First things first, the language, understanding the language, speaking the language, being exposed to the language, and the culture itself. So we've already started to, I'm fortunate that I can read, write, and speak Creole. And so I already have the books in place. I have the little baby books and the little baby cassettes ready to go. So I'm going to be playing that in the background as he or she sleeps, and go from that point on. But the goal is with God willing, my mother be around to watch this child and pour into this child just as much he poured into us. And then I'll obviously go to Haiti, see the family in Haiti, and just expose and immerse our children in the culture that, yes, they're American, and yes, they're Haitian as well. So it's going to be dual. In our household, they will be multiple languages spoken, because Rebecca speaks Portuguese. So she picked that up, and so we're going to have them learn that too. So it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. So definitely.
And Elizabeth, you came from English speaking, is that correct?
Yes, English speaking. My husband, however, because we have the borders of Brazil, Venezuela, and then you have Dutch Guyana. And what is so funny is after I got here, I said, oh my God, they were teaching Latin. They could have, in school, they could have been teaching us Spanish. I learned French, but not fluent enough to, well, it's gone now that I don't practice. To keep it going, I had to join like French societies where you walk in and you spoke no English and you were forced to think in French and speak in French. But Edward, he studied it, linguistics, and then Spanish and Portuguese is like his second and third language. And because our family, you had all of the multilingual thing going on, our eldest daughter, the one that wrote in, she majored in German, English at UCF. So she speaks German, Swedish. It's just like that. And I like what you're saying, because how do you say it, Alvin?
Alinx.
Alinx.
Yes.
Is that I don't know if your mother did that, but okay. We raise our kids in American culture. We are migrant family. I had to learn lots of American ways, different certain things where the expression is different. People did a lot of laughing. And
Yes.
Some of the words were, no, don't use that. And it has
I understand.
Totally different connotation.
Exactly.
What we did, I think your mom may have done that, is that once they hit the door coming back from school, they knew they're entering Guyana.
Absolutely.
So They had to watch their manners, their speech, their everything. Yeah. So,
Yes.
so we maintain the culture within the American society.
Great. Well,
Yes.
we are so glad that both of you are here in Central Florida, that you've shared your story with us. Again, these migration films, if anyone is a filmmaker and would like to take part in this competition, or someone who would like their story to be told, you can go to fusionfest.org/film. And the films get shown they'll be shown at the Enzian in the fall, and then during Fusion Fest as well. Thank you all for joining us. Again, join us the second Tuesday of each month at 7 o'clock for a MYgration Films watch party. Next month is something different. We're just glad that you joined us. Thank you all.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you guys. Thanks to
Bye.
everybody. Great night.
Thank you. Bye.